Okay, welcome to the last part of this lecture. We will be continuing with operation scheduling after we plan on the operation side. So we schedule now. There are actually four general kinds of schedule, which is the master schedule, the detail schedule, the staff schedule, and finally the project schedule itself. The master schedule is the game plan for upcoming production. It means that how much should be produced, overall. For example, within a year, for example, how much you should produce. It is a very detailed schedule, show day-to-day activities on how much should you produce daily. What day is the holiday, what day is your manufacturing day. That is master schedule. So these are the examples of master schedule. Master schedule. For example, we have three products over here. Yeah, EC16, 32, and 20 from August, up until November. So this is how much they should produce for one day, and then for the day every day up until November. And for the next example, for food retailers, for quarterly, every quarter up from 2014 first quarter up until 2015 fourth quarter. So how many numbers of stores you have for the food retailers, and the how many employees do you have, and then the fresh vegetables in tons need to be ordered for food retailers, and canned food. So you have all this information available for the detailed schedule, daily detailed schedule. The second one. So the third one is staff schedule, whereby you identify who and how many employees will be working and when. You schedule all the stuff. Let's say you have 100 staff. Do you need 100 staff daily, or you need to put it into half shift? For example, the first shift will be 50 people, and then the second shift is 50, another 50. And then the fourth one is the project schedule. Provide the coordination for completing large-scale project, for example, construction projects. So you need to use the Gantt chart and PERT chart. To determine, to break down. For example, for Gantt chart, it is a schedule that breaks down large project into small steps to be performed and at the specific time and required to perform each step. What step need to be done for the first month or the second. Meanwhile, PERT chart is the production schedule specifying the sequence of activities, time requirement, and critical path for performing the steps of the project. I mean, which part should run first. So it is being determined by a PERT chart. So this is the example of Gantt chart. So you have all the activities over here, and you have this legend over here. Say the red one is the work completed, and the green one is time allocated for each task. For example, you have the getting fund, for example, from 13th of April up until 20th of April. And then this one, time allocated is from 27th of April up until 8th of June, for example, for rework tables and chairs, but it has been completed by the 5th or 6th of April, for example. Here. So this is the current date, and this is the achievement. The rate is what you have achieved, and then the green one is the time allocated to complete the task. For example, the last one is to reinstall table and chairs. So this one should be done between 15 June. So it is not being done yet because it is not being colored by red. Meanwhile, the PERT chart is much more complicated, because it determines the critical path, which job should be done earlier, For example, getting fund, A getting fund, and B is remove chairs and tables, You should do this before, and then before the C, because this is the critical path need to be done, to finish all this job within designated time. It doesn't mean that this C, E, and F work need not to be done, but it can be done while doing the other jobs. That is what PERT chart is all about. It determines the critical path and the most time-consuming and set of activities for completing the project. Okay, next we go to the material management, ladies and gentlemen. Bagaimana kita mengurus material, raw materials, for example. It is a process by which a manager plan, organize, control what? Materials. From sources of supply to through the distribution of finished good. Yeah, from raw materials up until finished good. That is material management. So basically, there are 5 areas that need to be focusing into. The first one is supply selection. Yeah, while looking into material management, suppliers. The process of finding and choosing suppliers. Who should you buy from? Yeah, and then when you have determined your supplier, you purchase. How many you should purchase? Yeah, before because please bear in mind that in operation you wanted to produce a product or services. Yeah, so you need to determine your supplier first, and then you purchase the product. Yeah, purchase the raw material. Purchase the raw material to ensure that your production can be run. Yeah? And then transportation, how to transport it. Yeah, activities in transporting resources, because please bear in mind, we are looking into a very huge number of raw material. So it is not as easy as transporting using cars, for example. It is using lorry, containers, even if you are buying from overseas, so that is transportation is all about. And then after you receive all your raw materials, you need to think about the warehousing. Where should you put all these materials? Yeah, before production, and then after production, the finished good also you need to look into. And then the last one is inventory control. Yeah, after you receiving, you store it, you handle and counting all the raw materials. Yeah, if let's say you receive 1,000 sets of screws, for example, so this partly finished goods or these raw materials need to be in order, so that you will not have the shortage of screws, for example, in making tables or in productions, for example. So that is inventory control. So from all these 5 steps of material management, you will face a lot of problems, wastage, and inefficiency. So that's why scholars have introduced the lean production system. A production system designed for smooth production flows to avoid inefficiency and to eliminate unnecessary inventories. Let's say you just required 500 screw, why should you order 1,000? Unnecessary inventory. And continuously improve production processes, because warehousing just now, it is a very expensive things, to have. Because you wanted to warehouse it, you need to have a warehouse to store it. And then you need to control it if you ordered a lot. And that is why just-in-time production is being introduced. It is type of lean production system, whereby if let's say you just need 200 screws a day, so you just ordered 200 screws for that particular day. The next day you ordered again. So it is just in time, so that you don't have to put the screws in the warehouse. You just let the lorry or order 200 screws, and then when the 200 screws coming in to your warehouse, you can use it immediately. So no wastage. It is very efficient. So that is what just-in-time production it is. It means that you produce it just in time. You need all the raw material just in time. You need not to wait for it, or you need not to store it. And of course, in doing operation, you need to control all your jobs lah. Whatever jobs that has been designed to do, all the processes, from capacity planning up until method planning, you need to control it. The process of monitoring the production, whether whatever you have determined or you plan, and then what is the output, then you need to benchmarking it, whether you have achieved what you have planned. And then you need to do also follow up day to day. If let's say you wanted to produce 500 raw finished product a day, so you need to have a follow up. Look into for example, half daily, you should finish 250, and then before let's say 1 hour before you finish operation, you should produce at least 90% of that 500, or at least 400 materials or 400 finished product has been completed. And production is not only, or operation is not only just producing goods. You need to also to make sure that the quality of the product is in order. So you need to control it. So the action of ensuring the operation produce product that meet specific quality standards. You said that if, let's say, a car should have 4 doors, so in the end, the finished product should have 4 doors rather than 3 doors or 2 doors only. If you it doesn't have quality control, tak mungkin lah kan. But again, quality control is very important. That is why they say that our quality comes first. You know, if let's say reliability is the focus of the production, so you make sure that the car is reliable. So that is quality control. Yeah. So next one is also productivity. If let's say the amount of output produced, if let's say you wanted to produce 500 cars in one day, you make sure that you can produce 500 cars in one day. So that is productivity. If let's say with the amount of resources, with the amount of raw materials, has been put into, you should have that 500. If let's say you just can only produce 400, so there is a wastage somewhere along the processes. So that is productivity. Next, in managing quality, we have total quality management, or TQM, which is all activities involved in getting high quality goods and services into the marketplace. So TQM is based on quality ownership. It means that when you do things right before you pass it to another person. Let's say you are producing a car. When you fit a tire, so you make sure that you're fitting the tires correctly before you're passing the job to another person. I mean the finished job to another person. That is quality. It means that the quality belongs to each person who creates it while performing the job. So there are basically 5 tools for total quality management. The first one is competitive product analysis, whereby you are benchmarking your product with the competitor's product, and then you are trying to improve your product. And then the second one is value-added analysis, your process of evaluating your works, activities, your from materials flow, your paperwork, everything, and then you are trying to add value. For example, if let's say you can purchase a high quality raw materials, for example, with a very low price, for example, just because it can add value to your customer, so you will do it. And then the third one is quality improvement team. You have a quality team that will be solving common shared production problems, on how to solve problems and to increase quality within the production line. And then the fourth one is the ISO, the International Standards of Operation, ISO 9000, 14000. It is a program certified, to make sure that your your operations is standardized throughout the organization. And then the fifth one is the business process re-engineering. Try to rethink back and radical changes or redesign back your business processes. You try to improve performance. Let's say the steps of producing goods should be 1, 2, and 3. So suddenly you think that operation number 2 should be eliminated. And then the last part of this lecture, it is supply chain management. It means that you manage your suppliers, your raw materials provider, and then after you have completed the finished product, you manage it on how to market it, how to resell it to the customer up until it reach to the end customer. That is supply chain management. It is a principle of looking at the chain and improve the overall system. This is because the manufacturers is actually not owning all the resources. Raw materials should be getting from lots of suppliers. That is why suppliers need to be managed. In order to determine the efficiency, you need to have a good relationship with the suppliers. You should send it. For example, you should send it before Monday, for example, and then they send it on Monday on time. So because of the relationship is good, and all the production is not being interrupted because of a good relationship with the suppliers. So this is basically a supply chain example. For example, if you're making a bread, a company making a bread macam Gardenia, for example. So you have a good relationship with farmers, the Co-op Grain Storage, the flour miller, baking company, UI baking company, for example. And then you have a very good relationship with distributors, grocery stores, and up until it reach consumers. So this is what we call as supply chain. Okay, the last part in supply chain management is outsourcing. It replaces internal processes by paying other suppliers to do or to perform business processes. For example, Sony wanted to make a camera and they don't have the expert in lenses, so they joint venture with Canon to supply lens. So they don't have to do the lens, and this is what we call as outsourcing.